Hi, my name's Trudy Robinson. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with some information and perhaps some advice to assist you in deciding where you are going to commence your project management studies. As you probably know, there are three starting points of study. The first is usually a Certificate IV. Then there is a diploma and then an advanced diploma, and then you can go on as far as your master's or PhD, particularly in relation to the subject of project management. However, there are some differences when it comes to project management, so we need to clarify these so that you can understand why or how you should start your different studies. In the Certificate IV, what you're learning is to apply skills. In the diploma, you are learning to manage them, and in the advanced diploma, you're learning to direct. So the principles are in the Certificate IV that you're part of a project team or a project administrator. In a diploma, you are looking at project coordination, project management officer roles, and in the advanced diploma, you're looking at project management, program management type roles. Now, when we're looking at the subjects that are covered, in most qualifications, you are looking at different topics or different degrees of information that you cover as you progress through the different levels of qualification. However, in project management, you cover the same 8 or 9 subjects in each qualification. So in the Certificate IV, you cover scope, but you still cover scope in diploma, and the advanced diploma, you are simply looking at it from a different perspective. Instead of learning to apply the scope in Certificate IV, you're learning to manage it in the diploma, and then you're learning to direct it in the advanced diploma. And similarly with the other 8 subjects. When it comes to the diploma and advanced diploma, you have a 9th subject, which is integration, which is integrating all those different subjects and all the different skills within a project together for the ultimate benefit of that project or organisation. So you don't learn different subjects in the diploma and advanced diploma. If you don't understand the basics of the scope that are covered in Certificate IV, then that will hamper you when you go through the diploma and advanced diploma, etc. So when we talk about the Certificate IV, some points are the Certificate IV provides the foundation that will be used in subsequent qualifications. A well-managed Certificate IV enables students to use that which they've already created during the Certificate IV as part of their subsequent assessments in the diploma, etc. In my personal experience, students who have attended the diploma without having done the Certificate IV often pull out. Not always, but often they do, because they cannot handle the added burden of creating the Certificate IV type requirements to then add and supplement what they're doing in the diploma. So we obviously need to address the question of whether you can go straight into the diploma, whether you have enough experience and perhaps qualification to be able to move into the diploma without completing the Certificate IV. So here's some questions to ask yourself. Have you written a scope document? And if you've written a scope document, do you understand all the contents and where that information comes from? What's the difference between a bottom-up budget and a top-down budget? Do you know the difference between an issue and a risk? How would you manage both? In practice, an issue is something which has actually occurred, and a risk is something which may happen. But how would you manage these? What would you do to mitigate the risk or the issue? And what do I mean by mitigate? So when we're talking about a schedule or a timeline, do you understand the difference between a finish-to-start relationship and a start-to-finish relationship within the schedule? In the HR topic, we cover things like position descriptions. So do you know, will we have more key result areas or more key performance indicators in one position description? Do you know why, when we're creating a budget, we would need to include some assumptions within that budget? When we're creating a communication plan, would you understand the difference between push, pull, and/or interactive communication? Would you know when to use a scope variation? As opposed to a scope variation, would you know when to use a contract variation? Do you know what is required within a communication plan? Could you write one from scratch? Within a procurement plan, do you know what weighting is used for? and how that would assist in a supplier in knowing what they would need to work within and what they would need to focus on. Now, if you've written a scope document or you've got a scope document available to you, how would you use that to identify whether tasks or requirements that are being raised within a project are within scope or not? And what's the impact of that? So perhaps you're comfortable with all of those questions. Perhaps you can provide good, knowledgeable answers without guessing. And if that's the case, you may be able to move straight into the diploma. Now, most institutions have prerequisites. They have prerequisites about whether you need to pass certain levels of qualifications before you move on to the next. Be aware that most organisations also have RPL facilities, recognition of prior learning. Now, as a matter of fact, most individuals find that it's easier to do the qualification than it is to answer the RPL requirements. But they're there for a purpose. You may not need to study all 8 or 9 subjects. So I hope this video has helped. I hope you understand that when you go from one level of qualification to another within project management, that you don't learn new subjects, you are learning the same subjects to a different degree. So if you don't have the basics and the foundation, it may hamper you rather than help you. If you have any more queries, you can contact me via my website, trudyrobinson.com, or you can email me on discover@trudyrobinson.com. Good luck with your decisions, happy to help if there's anything I can do, and happy studies.